Hi, Mark.
Hi, Drew. How are you?
It's good. It's been a while, hasn't
Yes,
it?
it has been a while. Yes.
Well, how are you doing?
I'm better, thank you. Are you better?
I'm a lot better. It's been as December normally is. It's busy, and we've both been ill and
busy.
Just life. But we're here. We've returned.
We're back. Yes.
For another episode.
With like a week and a half. What day?
I think we're like 3 or 4 weeks late.
Wednesday? Yeah, 3 or 4 weeks late, and we're 2 and a bit weeks left till Christmas itself. Yes. No,
it's one and a bit weeks.
1 and a bit weeks?
Yeah.
Whole of next week. No, next week is
half.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Okay. Well, that's good to know that we're on the ball. Because we're already on Tuesday, and then Christmas Eve is next Wednesday.
So you got like a week
and a day.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you don't look prepared for that. Your eyes dropped.
I don't think I'm ever prepared for Christmas. You just got to carry on. What are you looking at?
You're just being so unprofessional. Not a single coaster has been brought to this episode.
Behind you. If you want,
how unprofessional. 1 second.
Sorry, we're having a coaster break, everybody.
We're a bit rusty.
Yes. We're trying to avoid the noises. They're under the fruit.
Oh, good lord.
There's some apples, and then there's some coasters. Yep, that's
classic fruits.
Well, there's some Christmas coasters. You see, there we go.
There you go. You have two. You disgust me.
Drew is rolling his eyes at me.
Well, I think that's at the move.
We can only go up from here, can't we?
Well, I can always only go up. I put my drinks on the coaster just so I don't look so as unprofessional as you. Very good. Well, what have you been up to?
What have I been up to for the last few weeks? Well, one of the main things I wanted to do was start watching Star Trek Strange New Worlds. It's normally on Paramount, but for some reason ITVX has got it. So I was very excited about this because one of the things I really liked about Discovery before it went only to Paramount was the bits that included Christopher Pike and Number One, and it was a lot of fun when he was in it. I liked him as a character, and this is basically set after the events of some of the Discovery series, where Pike is back on the Enterprise, commanding it on a 5-year mission, and the usual Star Trek shenanigans. The thing I liked about it is it filmed like a more basic reset to Star Trek, where it is just what's the word for it? It's just a crew going on some adventures
just
and
episodic.
Getting involved.
It's not like a big overarching the world's in danger.
There is some stuff
but it's not like groundbreaking territory, which I think sometimes the newer Star Treks have had a bit too much of the this will change everything. And sometimes I don't want that. Sometimes I just want people going on an adventure. And to them, the world is changing. Yeah. But the rest of the world is just going on. It
doesn't need a massive episode.
Massive
arc. And things changing and everybody having some sort of emotional breakdown midway through the season or whatever. Though there is a little bit of that there. There is a lot more through lines of characters, plots and stuff. And again, I think that's a reflection of modern television. There's a lot more involved in characters and stuff like that. And then some of it's good, some of it's just meh. I mean, that's one of the reasons I liked Deep Space Nine when it was out, because it did have that wider narrative. But I think sometimes I just want to have episode of the week and just be able to watch it and feel snug, and remember watching the original series with my mum when I was a kid, and then the moment of watching the first season of Star Trek Next Generation, where it was for me that was brand new. This was the best special effects at the time. It looked brilliant, and it had updates. It had men wearing skirts in the crew. It was brilliant. So just going back to basics in that, and especially the first episode. I managed to get through 5 episodes of it. The first episode was called Strange New Worlds, the name of the show in the first episode, and I think that has been my favourite episode so far of the 5. It opens really well. It brings out Pike's got a beard and he's on Earth and he's hiding in his ranch dressing. And he's pulled back in because Number One has been is gone missing on an away mission, and he has to go and rescue her and stuff. And it's a prime directive situation, which is always... I like those episodes. It's where they pull them... They've set themselves a rule. You're not supposed to interfere with pre-warp civilizations.
Yeah.
But there's a situation where this planet has been using warp technology, but as a weapon.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like
on the edge. It's like the grey areas of these like very clear-cut rules, and it's like, well, what do you do about this then?
And the way they discovered the warp technology is because they witnessed a solar event or a spatial event, which turned out to be something that happened with Discovery. I can't remember the exact details of that. They reference it, and I'm like, yeah, I remember something like that happening. But the point is, it's done in such it's such a cool way of, there's this, planet that has aliens that are civilization that are at war with each other. They're like in a Cold War situation. I can't believe what they would be referring to, but anyway.
Yeah.
But it's done in a really cool way. They have to sneak onto the planet and try and rescue them, but of course they get caught in the process. And I was going to say Picard then. Pike has to, show his hand to a certain extent and reveal himself, and that's the breaking of the Prime Directive kind of thing. It all works out nicely. It all wraps it up, and the characters are reintroduced. It's good in that way. Mm-hmm. Then after that, there's an episode called Children of the Comet, and there's a comet that's going to hit a planet that's, again, pre-warp. So Picard and their crew decide that it's okay to just nudge this comet out the way.
You mean Pike? You said Picard again.
I said Picard again, did I? Oh, yeah. God.
You just
showing my age, really. So Pike and the crew decide that they're going to nudge it out of the way. They're going to knock it off course, and they'll be the people on that planet will be none the wiser. But then this more powerful spaceship turns up and starts firing on the Enterprise, because it is still the Enterprise at this point.
Yep.
I'm right to say Enterprise. And there's a dilemma about this comet being a symbol of godlike powers to this more powerful alien race, and the crew have beamed down to investigate, and they found some kind of alien, something, and it's that whole thing of how they how they respect everybody's
and how they negotiate. It's just a negotiating situation.
Yeah.
All Star Trek episodes, and they do it really well, is there's a moral qualm, really. As much as it's spaceships and stuff, it's just most of the time it's a moral qualm, and they've got to resolve it somehow.
Yeah,
I think
it's just
good. It's good that it can do that.
It's standard Star Trek, really. And I will say that for the next one, which is Ghosts of Illyria, which is sun flu.
Fair enough.
I mean, that you could probably guess the kind of plot this is. It's mostly set on the ship. It is people on the crew start wanting to get hot. And they want to go to light sources, and one of the crew members tries to breach the warp core to create enough. Anyway, it's the usual kind of thing when one crew member seems to be left and is trying to figure it all out. It was all right. Memento Mori. This was the Gorn Hunt for Red Enterprise. Hunt for Red October. It's a submarine episode. They do that every so often. It didn't do anything particularly new. It was done really well, though. I really enjoyed it.
Sounds like overall it's been a good show so far.
And the last one was Spock Amos. I can't read my own handwriting here. But it had Spock meeting his his future wife, or the woman he's looking to marry, and there's a Freaky Friday moment in it.
Okay.
Where he kind of mind melds with her, and they end up in each other's bodies, and they're having to do each other's tasks, and they understand each other a bit better by the end of the episode. There. So yeah, that was a bit meh again. But overall, I think the good feeling. It's got the kind of visuals of the Kelvin universe. It's quite lots of sunspot lights and stuff.
Lens flare.
But I love the design of their rooms and stuff like that. It's like they've gone, okay, we've got more of a budget than the 1960s equivalent has. But we're going to pay homage to the fact that, this is the captain, this is the captain's quarters, and the crew's quarters are slightly smaller, and there's recreation areas, and there's really cool doctor. The doctor's surgery is really fancy, but it still feels like it's paying enough homage to the original series to make me smile, make me happy. So
that's good. Giving that warm fuzzy feeling inside.
But I've stopped watching it mainly because I have been working through a rewatch of Deep Space Nine. And I've got to season 7.
You outpaced me. I think when I was watching, I got to like season 3 or 4. And then you got to season 7 in such relentless manner.
But I have to be even more relentless because Netflix, where I'm watching it through, is it leaves Netflix on the 8th of January.
Okay.
So I've now got I'm on episode 4 of what's going to be like 24 episodes. So I've got 20 more episodes to try and fit in. So
you've done very well, to be honest.
I don't know if I'm going to do it. It's Christmas as well. There's not going to be...
Well, Christmas, the ideal time. Everyone's got their toys at Christmas. Yeah. So you just nip off at Christmas Day.
Just watch. Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes, because that's my main thing. What else? Me and Mrs. Hasty, the delightful Mrs. Hasty, we decided to finally get round to watching Broadchurch.
Broadchurch, yes.
Yes. BBC... I think it was it was ITV, was it?
I don't know. It's one of those quite old now. BBC, very British dramas. I think is it a detective drama?
It's a detective drama. Yes.
Is it the one with Doctor Who?
It's got 2 Doctor Who's in it.
Oh my gosh!
As well as David Tennant, you've got Jodie Whittaker.
Yes.
And they're the 3rd Doctor Who character, which is Arthur Derville, who played...
Is it one of the really old doctors?
No, not one of the... No, he's not a doctor himself. He is a companion to... Not Billy Piper. Who went on to be in Guardians of the Galaxy? Amy...
Oh, Amy, yes. Amy Pond, River Song. That was... Or
was that a character? No.
She was Amy Pond, was the character.
Amy Pond's partner...
Roy whatever.
That
Roy
was
the Centurion.
He plays a vicar in Broadchurch.
All over the place.
So there's and there's like you've got Olivia Colman in there as well. So I think it's considering this is like 12 years old, and we knew about the hype at the time.
People talk about it. Yeah, actually, every now and again when I go on Netflix, it's recommended to me because it's like. People say it's amazing. Yeah. So, yeah.
It's bleak. There's some bleak stuff to it. You don't get the conclusions that you want in some cases, which is interesting.
Does that make you want it more though? Do you know what I mean? Like, do you like that didn't go as I want, so I'm going to continue until it gets. One of my friends, they recommended a book series to me.
Yeah.
And it's The Assassin's Apprentice. Do you know that one?
That's Robin Hubb.
Yes.
Yeah, I've read some. I think I've read the first trilogy.
First trilogy, yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember I finished book 2, which is bleak. It's a pretty bleak ending.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, when does this get good? And he said, by the 9th book. I was like, I cannot commit to... But he's like, when the payoff's so good, I'm like, I cannot sit down for 9 books and just read bleak shit.
Yeah, I read the next series she did, which was The Live Ship Traders.
Yes.
And I got through the first 2 books and I stopped through the 3rd one because I was just struggling. Because it's pretty... It's not grim or anything like that, but it doesn't...
No one wins. The good guy never wins.
Yeah, no one wins. All the good guys are constantly struggling. And it's not even Lord of the Rings struggle. It's
unfair struggle. I don't like... This is what I had the issue. Is unfair struggle. Like, when it's Lord of the Rings, it's good guys and bad guys, very clearly.
Yeah.
And it's like a conflict. But when they're like both... When the bad guys pretend to be the good guy and everyone thinks they're the good guy, it's just unjust. It's just... So yeah, I really struggled. The books are good. But
it's well written. It's great world building, but it's just bleak.
No, it's bleak. And like Broadchurch.
And again, with Broadchurch, I think Helena's friend had told her, "Oh, the first one's really quite grim. The second one's the grimmest, and then it's all right in the third one." I think we still found the first one pretty grim. I won't go into details because
of course,
spoil it or whatever for you. But it ebbed and flowed. But by the end, it was a bit like, oh, okay. It's not like it was a bleak ending. It was just a little bit like, oh. And maybe that's what the reality is of to a certain extent. You don't always get closure on things. You don't always get... There's not a neat bow at the end of it. It's one of the things that me and Helen like in movies where you've got all the side characters are all tied up with each other or stuff like that. And it's usually in a romantic comedy or something like that. But it's nice to have that kind of closure. And this isn't anything like those because one of the subject matters that are involved, which include just, child murder and rape. So it's dark material, but I suppose that sense in myself and my wife's mind is that you want some sort of closure for these people. You want them to, be able to move past. And it's like some of the story elements are just well, that's what it is, and it's quite.
I think that's the reality. I think that's why maybe it's so good and so famous. Perhaps it is the bleak romance.
It takes
things just are like that.
But but then at the same time, you've got this really nice. You got the David Tennant and Olivia Colman, the main characters. Investigating these crimes, and their relationship grows. They start off a little bit chalk and cheese, but it doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like they've got to have a comedy moment to get there. It's kind of natural things. They, she invites him over to her place for dinner with her and her family, and it's quite nice moments and stuff like that of genuine kind of realism of how that would go. And he's a bit of a one-man band, doesn't integrate well with other people kind of thing. But he's her boss now, and it's like,
okay.
But if you fancy something that's a little bit, it's really well made, really well done, a bit grim, but still, entertaining.
Yeah, fair. I remember I was watching. Is it The Blue Line? You're the one where there's the cops investigating cops. Line of Duty.
Yeah.
I remember watching season 2 of that, and that is kind of a little dark. It's not very dark, but you remind me of that because I remember watching that, and I think there's only 4 seasons. I think I finished season 3 or 2 or something like that. And I just remember being so tense by the end of it. That I was like, I just can't do another Jess. I just can't do enough one of these. I just can't go around again.
I think where Broadchurch works differently than Line of Duty is that you end up in lives of not just the cops, but the families involved in this, the community, the greater community around them, and so you get a little bit more realism in that. There are certain, how people react to certain horrific things happening in their lives and stuff.
Fair.
Yeah,
that's quite just quite a variety there between those two. Just
and the final thing, and I brought it.
Oh, I'm excited to hear. I've been seeing this. So, you talk about it, and I'll talk a little.
Okay. What I'm holding in my hand is Dan Abbott's Horus Rising, the first book in the Horus Heresy series.
I've been watching Mark read this book for months at work. Every lunchtime, he has his half hour, he sits there at his desk, and he pops it out, reads half a page, I can imagine.
I have about 10 minutes to read. By the time I've eaten the food and checked my phone, I get about 10 minutes a day to get through this.
It's not a huge book, let's be honest.
It's not a huge book, 412 pages.
Yeah, it's a small format, it's not crazy.
So what do you think? I think it's well written. I liked what I read. What I wasn't expecting, because...
Do you want to give a quick synopsis for those who may not have read? Just some rough outlines.
This story starts at the beginning of... or pretty soon after... Oh, God, what's his name? I'm going to go to the front to get the names.
Yeah, it does have the names, because there's a lot of names and the weird ones.
Horus himself, he has just become the War Master. Mm-hmm. And the main character, I would say, is if I can get where is he in here?
Is it one of his entourage?
Yeah, but
is it Abaddon?
No, not Abaddon.
As a Carl.
It's Garvel Loken.
Oh, Garvel Loken. Yes.
Loken. He seems to be one of the main characters throughout, I would say. It's mostly his story.
He's a very important character in the whole world of 40k.
So he becomes one of the... Oh, God, that word's not going to be here. He becomes one
Huskals?
of... Sorry?
Huskals?
No,
I think that's just Imperial Fists.
Mordecai. Yeah. Lots of words like that in here. He becomes one of the elites.
Mournivals, yes.
Yeah, he becomes one of the Mournivals, which is like a advisory board to the War Master.
I think the Huskals are the Imperial Fist equivalent of the Mournival. They all have their own special names for their own special people.
Great. Anyway,
it's a lot of names.
It's a lot of names, a lot of words, a lot of things you have to just go, I'm guessing that means this, and carry on until you get confirmation later on.
Yeah. No, I agree with that kind of sentiment.
But then you have these, the kind of short blocks in each chapter. There's kind of a section that will be Garvel, and then you'll... Garvel, sorry. Garvel. And then you end up with stuff with all these remembrances, which really threw me, because I was like, okay, I'm on board with this. I've got this book. Oh no, I'm now with a remembrancer. And
remembrances are historians, basically.
Yeah,
they're writing a history.
Yeah, which is fine. But there's one chapter where we're following this one guy who's going on a drunken bender after leaving the main detachment on this world that has recently been conquered, or not conquered, is it? They've freed it,
massacred it. Basically.
Yeah, massacred it by freeing, waging
quotation
war against
marks.
it.
Yeah.
And he ends up getting a bit drunk and going on a artistic poet bender through this damaged city, and ends up getting beaten up by a group of Imperial soldiers because of something he says, because he's in this really, I think the main thing I got out of this book more than anything else was world building, and that was brilliant.
That's what people say about it. It's a good start, because it makes you understand the world of the Horus Heresy.
Because you've got bits, you've got the stuff that's set on the world that they've just conquered. You've got some battles. You've got some idea of how they fight and what their beliefs are. Then you have some time on the warships in space, and you get a feel for their size and their the
epicness of everything.
The epicness of everything. Yeah, the crazy scale of it is insane. Then you get there's a chapter later on where they visit a world that's been. That has only got these arachnids on it, these giant mega arachnids.
Yeah.
Which, that starts off being introduced to a new load of characters, and there was it's proper whiplash of narrative, because you feel like you're going in a certain direction. Oh, I'm going to find out more about. Oh no, suddenly I'm on this planet with new people, with a new adventure, with new things going on. How is this tying in? And it does tie in, and it works well on that front. And then the last third of the book ends up meeting the Interrex, which seems to be a lot of horse people or something. Still not. That was...
A lot of the species don't mean anything, really. And if they've got tabletop models, they're not really relevant.
Well, I thought these did have... These guys seem to have... I Googled a lot whilst I was reading this, and they did seem to have figures.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're all like centaur creatures and stuff like that. So,
in the 40k universe,
I don't know that. This was a while ago when I was reading through that stuff.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I would say in terms of it being, I don't feel like there's a narrative throughout. It really is a lot of snapshots, and they are in a sequence, and they are interlocking characters and situations. But it's not like what I was expecting was something where main character meets a load of people, does adventures, and has an end to that adventure. It feels like there's still more to get. This is just a continuation. I suppose it's more like real life in that sense. If you were to look at a person in history that's a soldier that's fighting in a war, just because they've won one battle doesn't mean their story's over.
They're shipped straight off to the next thing.
And that just continues on like that. There is no, and especially with a world where there is only war.
No,
and these people live a lot longer than normal humans. They're just going to keep going.
Yeah, no, it's I'm kind of at the upper end. So they just released the book Ashes of Ruin, which is post the Horus Heresy, so literally just after.
Yeah,
and it's like short stories of the aftermath, basically. Everyone tidying up the stuff.
Yeah.
And you go back and you meet a few of the main characters from the Siege of Terror, who are like just the people. You get a lot of like he said, Whiplash is like 20 characters throughout the whole of Siege of Terror, probably, that you just go back and forth between, and it's like a guardsman on the front line, some Imperial assassin doing something, Rogel Dawn at the top of the tower doing all the commanding, high level all the way down to the guardsman. And you're like constantly flitting between these. And then this book is like the aftermath. What are people doing afterwards? It's like tidying up the like loose ends of the traitors still on Terra, and like people trying to organize the chaos, and then like some people just trying to get back to normalness.
Yeah,
it's really good. But you're right, it's totally Whiplash, and it's totally that thing of just because the big fight's over, people don't just go back to their home. They're just like immediately shipped off to the next place they need to be to do a thing.
If anything, the ship is their home. That's their one constant. What they're ferried about on. I mean, I enjoyed it. I don't know if I'm invested enough to
continue on the world.
Yeah, because it feels that kind of thing that you've really got to invest a little bit more. The idea, especially as like I said, because I didn't feel like I got the.
I think if you went, I think what they do with that book, so the Horus Rising, everyone says Horus is that's the book to start with. I think then, and we talk about fuzzy edges, right? Warhammer doesn't have fuzzy edges. If you want to read about a thing, there's a book.
Yeah.
So what people do is I showed you this chart. It's a huge chart of everything you can read. Post that, and like it shows it in timeline order. And I think what you're meant to do is you're just meant to pick like kind of a line you want to go down. So choose a chapter or choose a character, and they'll have like a line of books.
Yeah.
And then you can probably like jump off that to somewhere else, but you're still in the same time.
But I think the thing is, the way you introduced me back into Warhammer 30k was by going, here's this long video that details the whole of the Horus Heresy storyline. So when I started with this book, I was expecting that was going to be the reveal of how the Warmaster, Horus himself, becomes the traitor, the lead traitor, how that happens.
No, but Matt, it's so much detail. There's so much detail in this stuff. There's conversation between Lorgar and Horus, and then like the Emperor's...
Who, sorry,
Fulgrim,
the first person?
Lorgar. He's the word-bearer Primarch.
Oh, he was his buddy.
His brother?
Erebus. Oh, no, we only meet the chaplain. The first chaplain from that.
Oh, Erebus. He comes, word bearer.
And he speaks for him. I think that was his character, wasn't it? So, he turns up at some point towards the end, I think. So it's their relationship that starts that ball rolling then?
Yeah, there's all sorts of... Everyone knows everyone. And actually, I find the most interesting characters are the ones just below the Primarchs. So all the Praetors and the First Captains and that top layer are far more interesting, I think, than the Primarchs. Because the Primarchs, they're like gods, right? Yeah. And the idea is you're not even meant to comprehend what they're thinking. Yeah. But these low-level people, they're just like put in these rock and hard place situations constantly.
Yeah, I mean, I like that way, the fact that we were going through Garvel.
Garvel Loken, yeah.
Yeah. Going at him as your introduction to it, and especially as he was moving up in esteem rather than rank, really, because he didn't change rank, did he? He just became...
Isn't he the first captain? Or
he was the first captain before... Or
is it Baden the first captain? I don't know.
No, he's not the first. He was the 10th captain. 10th company.
10th company captain, okay. Yeah.
But the point is that because he went into the inner circle of the
Moravel, yeah.
Yeah. That if that was up, that was the introduction to the higher level of it, and what it means to be a Primarch and what it means to be the War Master, and you got an idea of that world without having to. Because what are you following when you follow Horus as a character directly? It's not going to be interesting, is it?
No, I think it's a lot about like the the downtime, so to speak, especially in like, just tap the table. The downtime, especially in like the chaos, when you get to the full chaos, everyone's corrupted.
Yeah.
What's their downtime look like?
Yeah.
Do they just like stand there like being festered plague things? They don't need to eat or anything. They can't repair their armor because they're all like, it's all like biologically attached to them.
Yeah.
Like, what do they do like all day? I always get confused about like.
Do they ever tackle that in the books then?
I don't know.
Or is that because they're the bad guys that you see them only from?
Well, you always see them like. Every time we have seen them, or things I've read, it's been them, like, plotting or scheming. It's not them, like, living their life.
Yeah.
Right? It's them just being like, yes, if I do this and maybe this, and, they're doing all this kind of monologuing almost. But they're not actually living their life, so to speak. Whereas when you see the good guys, when you
they're
see,
cleaning their armour. They're I've got a dent this time.
They're doing the administrative work, or they're doing this because it's, it has to be done to keep the Imperium
going. Or they're going to the
going.
library and choosing a nice selection of books, historical books.
They do that, yeah. You joke, but yeah, it's totally true.
Again, I wasn't expecting that. Again, there's more to it than I ever thought. I thought it was going to be quite war, fight, bang, bang. And there was some of that. There was a lot of things, but it wasn't overwhelming. It was just like any other book that has an element of action in it. It just it all made sense. It was very clear of what was happening. There wasn't moments where it's one of the worst things is you read a book and you go, how did this character? I don't understand how this character ended up in this
situation here.
Yeah. Hold on a minute. I'll have to go back and read. Oh, yeah, now that.
When it gets unclear, I totally know what you mean. It's fuzzy.
And the action, there's the fights and stuff that do happen. It makes a lot of sense. It's very clear.
Dan Abbott's very good at writing the fight stuff, I find, because he's done a lot of the other books as well in the series. But yeah, well, maybe try another book, maybe in a specific area that you want to look at. But I'm glad you read it because you know the world.
I am definitely glad, and the introduction to it made it slightly more detailed because I've seen some animated stuff in the past. I've seen the video games and stuff like that, and then you just think it's just war. What else is there to it? Even that, what was that? There was a Warhammer short film.
There was the Secret Levels.
Secret Levels, that was
on Prime. They had
and it fell into that whole thing of like they land on the planet, they go on the mission, they do the mission.
And they come back,
and they come back, and even when you come across the bad guy, they're just hanging around, waiting for the good guys to come so they can try and attack them. It's just like there was no detail in that. There's no lore in that. I think I saw some bizarre video, which is a Warhammer tank waiting for their target to come. And then you saw more and more of the tank, and you realised it was decorated like it was Christmas or something. And it turned out the tank was waiting for Father Christmas on his sleigh. And then it ends. But it was really bizarre. It's more lore out of that because they were talking about I think the tank driver was saying prayers to to the Emperor and stuff like that. And it was talking about, giving blessings to its tank bits or
the machines in the like because they all have machine spirits, and so you bless the machine, all this kind of no, there's loads of ritual, and I think actually especially with the loyalist legions like the Blood Angels and the Ultramarines, there's a lot outside of they do a lot of things purposely outside of the war. Like they talk about every Blood Angel's an artist in some regards. They talk about, or like sometimes when they're on the battle lines before they like fight, the quiet before that, they talk about like, I did poetry before I was here, and like, I was a sculptor doing sculpting before I was doing this. So like, there is this idea that they are meant to be more than the super soldiers, but at the end of the day, they are also just the super soldiers.
That's what they do in their times when they're travelling between wars.
Oh,
we build. What was the one? One of them was build. They're very good at siege.
Yeah, the Iron Warriors are good at sieging.
The Imperial
Fists are good at defending.
Defending, that was it. So there was the Iron ones were the ones that can attack a siege situation, and the Imperial Fists were the ones that can defend.
And that's kind of the joke is that those two are always at odds with each other. And it comes to a pinnacle in Saturnine, I think it is, on the Siege of Terror, where both of them it's great. It's great.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it thoroughly. I'm enjoying Ruins of Ashes, which I'm listening to at the moment, which is just the aftermath, and it's just like the bleakness, but then also the camaraderie and the bleakness. And small glimmers of hope in the like just absolute despair. I quite enjoy that.
That's the one thing I think I would find difficult reading more of this. Is just the fact is there is no hope really. Even those glimpses of hope. So there's bits where you try and picture who is it that's back home that's built that just goes to work and builds a who's building who's the people that are just living and farming or building a new road or whatever. Who are those people?
You don't have those really. You have hive cities, but I think it's like with real life. I think how if you look at the big picture, you just kind of go, oh my god. But like, I think when you look at the detail, like when you look at like the personal life to life moments, there's always something really optimistic in that world. But I think looking at the grander picture, everything's just like, oh my god. So like, I think it's really good to show you the little hope, which is I think more significant to making.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm glad.
But yeah, okay.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. At least got something out of it. I hope, but won't be painting any minis anytime soon.
Well, what about you, Drew?
What have I been up to?
What have you been
let's
doing?
start with. I played a board game I've had for a while called Arcs. Now,
how are you spelling that?
I think it's ARKS or ARCS. I forgot off the top of my head.
But it's not an X.
No. This is a spaceship board game because I goddamn love a spaceship board game. Apparently, I own like 4 somehow, varying levels of complexity. Apparently, it's 4 players, and you have a little kind of abstract universe in front of you, and you have planets, and you've got spaceships, and it's classic. You can fight other people, you can take over planets, you can build factories, blah 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 blah. There's a council, you can get some council members, all that jazz. It uses trick taking, so it uses 4 suits of kind of cards and then numbers to show who's kind of winning in the trick taking-y kind of sense.
Right.
And this kind of determines what kind of actions you can take in a turn. I'm being very fluffy vague with the rules, because it's what I found with this game is it's really hard to keep track of all the moving parts that are constantly happening. With other games, I find I can sit there and kind of lay out a turn, maybe, in advance, be like, I'm going to do this and this and this turn. Because that means that, I'm going towards my objective by doing these things. With this game, everyone else is doing things, totally affects you. But, so much so that it means I found it so hard to get anything done. Because I'd be planning my whole turn ahead, and I'd be like, this is what I'm going to do. And then because of the trick taking, and what other people were interacting with on the board, it would just completely change how I had to play my turn and completely ruin any sense of planning I had, which I found really interesting for a board game because I find that doesn't normally happen. The level of interaction, people can affect you, and normally it's in hostile ways by invading you. Those are kind of predictable, right? You put up your defenses to stop someone invading you, blah, blah, blah. But this game was more like people could steal things from you, people take money, and this resource could do this to you, and they took this guild member that then does this to you, and they could have moved something else, and they could have put a certain card down. And it affected me in so many different ways that it was so hard to keep track of. And I really want to get good at this game because it felt so hard at the time. I was like, it's just every time I tried to make a plan, it was immediately scuppered. I was like, oh my gosh. But it's a really good board game. And I've seen loads of people say it's been one of the best board games for a while. So I'm glad I got to play it. I know it's vague. I want to keep it vague because I can't remember exact rules, and to say exact rules would be dry as well. But yeah, it's not a Space Marine game. I love my Space Marine games. There is a version of it that's a legacy game, which means you just keep playing. Basically, after each session, you bring it out again. You save your progress.
Yeah.
And then you can play another session on top of. You do a whole campaign essentially, which feels quite weird because the board's quite small. So I don't know how you can develop a long storyline. It's quite a small game. It's not a big game. So yeah, no, that's interesting. I might look into that in terms of that.
There's no expansion for it, right?
Well, there is expansions. Oh, but the expansions, I don't know how they can add to this base game, which I feel like is a one and done kind of game. You put it out, you play it for 4 hours, you put it away. But there's a campaign mode, and that's what I'm saying. I don't understand how that campaign mode can I don't know how it can.
How does it make it any better?
Or how can it make it bigger? Because you talk about it being a big story and it being a a weird opera kind of thing of space opera, kind of all these things happen. So it's kind of interesting in that regard. But it's got good art style. Yeah. It's got interesting dynamics. It is only 4-player, which is quite sad. But no, it's fun. It was fun. I'm definitely going to play it a few more times because games that I can't get my head around immediately, but I understand how they work. You know, when a game like you understand how it works, but you don't how to
the nuances of how you're playing it.
I think that makes it really
it's that thing. It's that nice feeling, isn't it? When you first play a game, you know the rules, you know what you're supposed to do, and then you lose. Or you don't get any good result from it, and then you realise what you should have done. And how you start to see the nuance of how the flow of it and the kind of things you can do, the kind of bluffs or manoeuvres to
how you play it differently. No, I totally felt like that, and
it's a nice feeling because you feel like you've learned something. You feel like you're bettering yourself.
It makes me want to play again. It's like another round. Let's do it again because I want to. I did that wrong. Let's do that again.
Yeah.
So like, oh no, it's fantastic. It was a really good game, and actually, it was the first time we played it, and I think we cracked it down. I think we were playing full turns in about 30 minutes, like full on, between three of us, which is pretty good. One thing, a little pro tip here. What I found is, if you want to play a board game, and everyone's brand new to it, what you do, the day before, send out, go have a quick Google or YouTube, how to play X game.
Yeah.
Someone's made a video. Someone's made a concise 20-minute video, right? Then put it on a group chat and say, everyone watch this before you turn up. And then everyone comes in, and you don't have to do that first 20-minute thing of like, this is your this is your this is how this game... Like, and even if you have to look at the rules, at least everyone understands what they're looking at on the board, what the pieces are, and you don't have people going, oh, I didn't hear what you said, can you repeat that? You don't have any of that, right? Just send the video out, say, everyone watch this, they're normally 20 minutes, and the person who's made the video, they're professionals. They will have said the rules in the most concise, clear way, with very clear visuals, way better than you're ever going to do it at your table 2 beers in, right? It's a hack we've used a few times now in the group, and it just works. So I highly recommend that. My little pro tip on board gaming.
Pro tip on board gaming from Drew Brown.
Yes, so that's exciting.
You should do a video.
Should I do a video? I don't think I've got the conciseness nor the visual acumen, perhaps is the word, to make a good, concise... Because I've tried writing board game rules before, and it's difficult. Because you got to think of all the ways and caveats and things. I find I can ramble, as I do on this podcast. So, and that's not what you want. You don't want someone who can ramble.
Yeah, but you can plan and you can prepare and you can. I'm saying about just general tips of how to board game, not on a specific game.
Well, it's almost like I could do a podcast, perhaps, that describes maybe some pro tips and ideas on how to do that. It's just one of those things we found, and I think it's a really good idea, actually, and it's worked a lot of times, and especially for big games. I know not everyone's playing big games, but if you're playing a big game, and some people are new and they're feeling nervous, send them a video.
Yeah.
They can watch in their own time. They can
get
figure
some of the
out,
ideas,
and then they can turn up and they don't feel
of how to play.
They don't feel rough about it. So really good idea. So I played Arcs. Good game. I hope to play a few more. The group is coming back together. We're playing a few more games. I'd like to make it a bit more of a regular thing. The problem also is that the group of people who are in this chat are like, it's 8 strong. And most board games are like 4 to 5 people. So it's like, how do you get...
Yeah.
You can't be like, you guys can't come this week. Like, you can't do that.
Yeah, when you got a group of friends that are playing games together, you've got to involve them all.
Yeah. So
could you be playing 2 different boards?
What we normally do... No, so we've been quite lucky. Some people just can't make it. And so that brings the numbers down. And I think that's a good way of doing it, because it just means people don't feel bad. Still playing your 4-player games. It's all good. But so I hope to be playing a bit more board games. I really enjoy some of these games. I've got a few more games. One of them I got for Christmas for Jess.
Ooh. Looking
forward to it. It's a 2-player adventure game. I'm very excited.
You're going to keep that quiet.
I'm going to keep what it is quiet, but it looks really fun.
Spoilers. No spoilers.
In that same vein,
do we want to come off mic so you can tell me what it is? And then
no, I'll talk about it afterwards. If it's a good game, I will recommend it to you, because I think what I've been looking for, I think just like hit the spids in that. What I was looking for is something that me and Jess can sit down and play of an evening.
Yeah.
But I want to have an adventure, right? And I like some board games, especially co-op games, are really one versus the other, or especially in a 2-player, it's you versus them. I don't want that, because either I'm explaining the rules to Jess, and she's getting upset because she doesn't understand the rules, or one of us is just winning. And it's just. Unless you're feeling like competitive, me and just don't feel competitive against each other in that way.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't work for us. So I wanted something we can do together where we explore something. Because I love an exploration, discovering things, seeing a new world. Ooh, very good. So I got this game. It's the smaller version of the bigger game, because the bigger game was like 90 quid. And I was like, I don't want to get that unless I know. So very very smartly, the people who made the big one were like, we'll make a smaller version of it.
Taster version.
A taster version.
Yeah.
And it's 35 quid or something. Or 30 quid. And I was like, I'll get that. We'll try that. And if that's good, we'll get the big one. So I'm really excited for that. I'm really, really excited for that. In that same vein, I tried a choose your own, kind of like when we did 1,000 Year Vampire.
Yeah.
Which is a solo RPG. I tried one called Cartograph. And this one's the idea is that you have a big sheet of paper and you write a backstory about a character and they turn up at this land and you roll the dice onto the sheet of paper and the dice determine what geographical thing is in that position where the dice lands.
Right.
And then you can travel to these places and you have like resources like money and food and then you draw... It's really weird. You also then draw from a deck of cards and then the first card determines how your journey went to that place. And your second card determines what's at that place. The premise is really, really good. The problem is there's just not enough content in this book for it. There is like 5 biomes. You've got like a lake, plainlands, forest, and mountains. And I think you have like settlements. And the settlements are like town, and village, basically, and city.
It's something that needs to be rinsed and repeat, then.
More, it just didn't feel. And then each card has like, so when you get to the forest, you have a set of like red ace to king, and then black ace to king, like things that can happen.
Yeah.
And they're written in that kind of same way that 1,000 Year Vampire is, which is like a friend betrays you, or like you meet a new strange creature, like that kind of thing. You know, it's vague, so you can then write the story. My problem was it just there wasn't enough content. I didn't feel like, you know, by the 7th roll, or like even by the 4th roll, because you have so many dice, right? By the 4th roll, you've seen all the biomes, right?
Yeah.
I want a system where there's something hidden here, but I can't get into that yet until I find a key, or like there's like I've got to make a reason why I can't get there. I've got to go find another thing over here, like, or a jungle, or like there wasn't enough. It felt like by like the
didn't give you enough
roll,
options of things that could happen and do.
Yeah. It felt like by the 4th roll, the land was just going to feel the same the whole way through. Right?
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it was going to continue being interesting.
Now I'm at another lake.
Yeah, it really felt like that. And like, oh, this lake's covered in mud. But like, I've still got to deal with the other lake that's like got dragons in it for some reason. But like, I don't know. It just didn't have enough of the mystery. And maybe that's really hard to write. Maybe you have to write mystery yourself. But it didn't feel like it lended enough to, what's that side of the island? Or like, what's in this bit of the continent? It didn't feel like it gave enough of that. And I felt really disappointing because the legs, it has really good legs. The first like 3 or 4 rolls were fantastic. So I was like, I found a settlement and like, but they all hate me for some reason. They like run me out and attack me, and I go to a forest, and the forest is alive, and it's trying to help me actually. And then I find a bear, and like the bear's trying to kill me, and like I'm running away, and then goats escort me to this lake. But like by that point, I felt like I'd like done it all. Yeah. It was so sad, but like it had potential, and I feel like with a big expansion, because the book's really thin. It was like, I don't know, 1 centimetre, 2 centimetres thick.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Horus book in terms of size, but just quite thin. And it had so much potential. It just needed more content.
More content.
And more, like, as I go, more things are unlocked. I don't know if that makes sense.
No,
like with 1,000 Year Vampire, you go down the...
Yeah.
You have like 100 things, and you roll the dice, and you go back a bit, but you mainly go down the list of things that can happen. You needed that with this. It just didn't feel it. Just really sad. I might try a few others. I've asked for another style of this.
Yeah.
From Jess for Christmas. Because I like the idea of it. I just want to feel like I've been given more opportunity to add mystery.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what this is yet. You've got to go find an answer. That'd be... Mwah. But I did have a go. I would also say, as my critique of it, you need so much stuff. You need, like, 20 dice in 3 different colours, a deck of cards, an A3 sheet of paper, a pencil, a notebook. Like, I was like getting all this stuff out. I'm like, thank God I've got all this stuff. Not many other people are going to have all this stuff, right, to do this.
But the only thing you have to buy... is the book itself.
The book has some things you can technically photocopy it and like print it out and blah blah blah. But and you could use like an online thing to choose a card from a deck of cards.
And all you can
but it's
get,
not the same, right?
You can get dice apps and stuff like that. But
the
point is
that
the base thing is the book.
It's just the book.
It didn't come with anything else.
No. It was fine. I think it just needed more. And it's quite sad because even if I think if I'd played it fully once, I really don't think I'd have actually got anything out of a second playthrough. Because it'd have been the same mountains and the same forests with slightly different flavour. Not like a vastly different world. It just didn't feel like that, which is so sad. But there we are. Okay, onto some digital media where you don't have to get involved. I watched Predator Badlands.
Oh, okay.
Which I didn't expect to see. One of my best friends, they wanted to go watch it. And I said, sure, why not? I went to see it. I'm not a huge Predator fan, but I went to see it. And I think it was really good. It did some really good world building. So the idea is it's a weak Predator from the Predator world, whatever, has to go prove themselves. So they go to the worst planet in the world. Because they're like...
It's the best place to start. Yeah,
because you've got to go hunt the thing. The idea is you've got to go hunt the thing. So they go to like the most deadly world, and like from the off, it's just everything is trying to fucking kill you from this world. But it's really good world building in terms of like this world is horrific at every stage, and they do some fantastic ideas. Like there's like a meadow of grassland, and the grass is like glass razors, so you can't walk through it. But this one rhinoceros thing is it's like rock. Like
it's evolved
so you can just
to
walk
be,
through it, and it's fine. And then there's like a monkey, and then that can like do all these clever things. And then there's like vines that can kill anything. Anyway, Wayland Yutani is there doing some research.
But they're from the Aliens franchise.
Well, this is the thing. I thought it was a bit of it was more like a cameo, right? I thought the idea was that like Aliens and Predator are the same universe. We know this, but they're not really meant to interact too much.
No,
like, not huge amounts.
Slight crossovers. Yeah.
This Wayland's the antagonist, 100%.
Wow.
They are very involved in this film, which really surprised me. Their involvement was classic Corp. Being just like, oh, we're bad guys, but it's legal bad guys, so it's fine. There's a lot of not character development as such, but there's some good characters in there. I think the plot twist is like so obvious, sort of. I think you really root for the Predator, which is aces, because it's normally the other way around, right? You normally the humans trying to survive the Predator. This time you're totally on the Predator side, and there's a lot of like camaraderie, and they're meant to be the weak runt, but they become the strong, smart person. It's really good. I think towards the end is fantastic, apart from like the last 10 seconds. The last 10 seconds completely just throw you out of it all. It could have ended 10 seconds sooner, and it would have been aces, but it wasn't. So
is it introducing a character from another? Is it that kind of thing where it's like trying to build a franchise? And
no, it's just like it's almost like a joke. There's like a joke at the end, and it just made me go, like it's a really good ending. I'm like, yes, about the ending, and then they just do a joke and like, oh, okay, cool.
This is what you think this is now.
It's just a bit funny. So I'm like, oh, okay, very good. So yeah, but it's a good film. It's a really good film. Very good world building. Things felt scary. Things felt big. There's like literal dragons in it, but they didn't call them dragons. I was like, oh my gosh, that's a dragon.
Some sort of monster that's a bit like a dragon.
And then the big scary is quite big and scary.
Yeah.
Overall, fantastic. I got two other films that I'd like to talk about, or two other shows. So I watched, on your advisement, I watched 12 Angry Men.
Yes.
A film from way back when.
1957.
I know you'd have... See, Mark, you're the man with the facts. I'm not the man with the facts. I like to come in here and freestyle.
I don't think you've ever seen a fax.
Oh, very good. Hey. Very good.
Have you ever seen it? Have you ever sent a fax? In all honesty?
Never sent a fax. Have seen a fax.
Yeah.
Never
in a museum?
My mum had a fax for a while. I think it was like the tail end of it.
You see, in my 20s and 30s, being a retail manager, that was primarily how you received information from head office.
Oh, really? Just a fax would come through?
Yeah, and it would have this week's information. Towards the end, you would have more and more intranet systems where you would, a specific bespoke computer program that would be linked in via the internet to communicate.
System,
but still, you would, during that crossover period, you would still get faxes coming through with certain information, things you had to, do immediately, or information that needed to be spread quickly and make sure people saw it. And then you would have to share information to head office,
Fair. Well, I guess it's how it was.
No, it's just how it was. Anyway, back to the facts. 12 Angry Men.
12 Angry Men, they did not have fax back then.
No,
Absolutely
they did not. It would have been a telegram.
So
I would have thought.
Probably would have. Oh gosh, yeah.
They might have had fax machines. There was.
Oh, it would have been some crazy old. It wouldn't have been like an invent. It'd have been like the early, the early IBM computers with an early fax machine, right? Anyway, going off topic.
Off topic.
The premise of the film is the 12 jurymen of a trial. They're all men, by the way. That feels. I think maybe that's artistic choice, but it felt also a little racist. Not racist. Misogynist, sexist.
Yeah.
But like, it kind of works for the film, so I think it's forgiven.
Well, it wouldn't have worked as 12 Angry Men.
I know. You know what I mean?
10 angry men and 2 angry women.
Maybe I'm just being super woke. I don't know.
It's strange because my memory. It's interesting. I haven't seen it for a number of years now, and in my head there are female jury members. But that's probably just my memory being poor.
No, they're all male.
Yeah.
I think it works well for the film. Anyway, so the idea is that they are presiding over a young boy has killed their father. Is the idea, or is what he's being on trial for, and the punishment's death. Is he's found guilty, and all the jurors go into the jury room, and they're the guy who's marshalling it, and like someone's like, let's just have a vote. Do we think this guy's guilty? And 11 of the men put their hand up and go, of course he's guilty. It's like, the writing's on the wall. And one guy's like, I'm not so sure. Everyone gets angry. Can you believe it?
11 angry men.
Well, actually, it's interesting. So I'd say actually only 10 people get angry. One of the other people, he's like quite open-minded. And I would say the film almost describes him as weak. He's the older guy.
Yeah.
Describes him as kind of a weak-minded character, perhaps. But I think as it goes on, he's not really a weak-minded. He's just an open-minded character. And essentially what happens is, throughout the whole film, is this one guy who says, I don't think he's guilty. And at first he's like, I don't really know why I don't think he's guilty. It's, and he keeps going beyond reasonable doubt. He keeps saying, he's like, I have doubts.
That's what you've got to do. He's got doubts.
So he's got doubts. And they go through every piece of evidence, and he kind of goes, well, on the face of it, this piece of evidence would indicate he's the murderer. But, when you think about it a bit harder, he lays out some things, and he physically does, like, they're talking about, like, how fast a guy can walk to one room and another through the facts. And through, like, one way or another, he eventually kind of just proves that he probably isn't actually the murderer. And I think it does a lot of things really well. It's all in one room, basically. There's a bathroom scene as well, or two. But it's all in this one jury room. And it shows a lot of different characters interacting, a lot of different people and how they're thinking. And I think it does that really well, because there's one guy's like, let's just call him guilty, because I want to go see the fucking Knicks game, or whatever. And like, you can just see his mind, he's not really thinking about it. You can see one of the guys like, he's just a racist guy, essentially. Well, he's just like, he's a poor kid. He's like that.
He's a Puerto Rican, so it would have been for some of the people of that time, would have been a race issue. This is an immigrant child. That doesn't matter.
He does that thing of dressing it up. He's like, people like that.
Like,
people from that neighborhood. He doesn't say it explicitly.
Yeah,
but it's very clear. And actually, towards the end, when he's one of the few people that the racist guy, he's a few people that is still like we should convict him.
Yeah.
The racism just has to build, because he can't keep using these, he's of that kind of group and, he's of that kind of background. He can't just say these things. He's got to start saying explicitly racist things. And at that point, everyone turns their back on him because he's just being racist.
Yeah, he's shown his true colours. Yeah.
And there's loads of... And you kind of go around the room and everyone has a qualm and, everyone's got a reason. And one by one, they're slowly turned to the idea he's not guilty. And I think it's really interesting to see the different characters and what triggers them to think, actually, maybe he isn't guilty. What I will say is, in terms of the plot, I think there's some really extenuating circumstances for some really niche-ass things that this guy is, like, trying to convince them of. And he's right, but really niche-ass things that he's, like, thinking of to be like, he's like, this train only goes by at 7 minutes,
Like how
the
you
train takes 30 seconds to go past.
Yeah.
There's a few... I guess it makes the story work.
Yeah.
But he has to know some real niche facts.
It's one of those films where it has to be structured in such a way to allow for it to happen. And you can see that the script writers having to bend things to make it fit a little bit.
It's done so gently, though, you don't notice it. But I was noticing some things, when I was reviewing in my head, I was like, that's the fact he knew that, and is very just coincidental and convenient that it works this way.
But it works.
But it does work. I think actually it's really good. But against the writers, I think the writers do a really good job, because we don't see any of the trial. But I feel like I was there for the whole trial.
Yeah.
Because how they talk about the trial, how they talk about the evidence, how they talk about what has happened, I feel like I know it.
And the thing is, you don't get a lot of courtroom dramas that have that perspective. It's all done behind with the judge, the prosecution and the defence and the evidence they're building up and they're releasing and getting, that's usually where a courtroom drama
is. It's only in the courtroom.
Is in the courtroom. And I think that's, for me, why this film is so fantastic, is because it manages to bring that in without having to see it, without actually having to be there. You've still experienced it. You have enough information to understand why where this trial's going. Each of those 12 Angry Men, they are, they've got their own thoughts and ideas about
you can see,
it.
And actually you can see all their because they're meant to be random people. You can see their perspectives.
Yeah.
You can see their background, who they are. They talk about what they do. And everyone's really cordial-ish. They're getting angry at each other, but, they're trying to be cordial. And, people, when they say shut up, people are shutting up. And, it felt really, real in terms of how it might interact, People are saying some weird things. People
Am I right in remembering that it's hot as well? It's really hot. They're all hot and sweaty. They just want to get out of this.
One guy's
room.
got a runny nose and an illness, and he's just sick of it. And they're opening and closing the windows constantly because it starts raining. And then it stops raining. And they're all smoking by the window. And it's really because it is only one room, so I guess they got to be doing things. Otherwise, they just sat there, right? It is really well done, and I think the ending with the last guy, because it's kind of a reflection on him and his child's relationship. And this trial kind of reflects his own relationship with his child. I think that's a bit up in the air at the end, because you're I get what it's kind of saying, but I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
So that was a bit weird, but I understand the broad strokes of what it's trying to say. Which is a really good film. It's really worth watching. Yeah. I think it shows a lot of moral dilemmas, and I think it shows sometimes how it did a really good job of showing how sometimes people don't to use Gen Z terms, to deep it. They don't deep it. Because a lot of people are let's just call it quits. Let's just call him guilty. He's clearly guilty.
Yeah.
I want to go see the football game. I want to go, I've got stuff to do. I've got to get out of here. And the one guy he's against is whoa. This guy's going to get killed if we say he's guilty. Let's take even 10 minutes. Even let's just take 10 minutes to really think about it. And it's you can see people just being in that situation. I guess because we're just being brought into it at the end, we can be in that mind frame of just call it quits and move on.
Yeah.
But it's so easy to see how people can be, when you're disjointed from things, could be in that mindset of whatever.
Yeah,
just move, a bit when you think about it.
This has been a week of my life listening to this trial. I'm tired now.
He's clearly guilty.
It looks like he's guilty, so let's just get this thing done. Let's go home.
It's really good at showing that kind of how, if you don't think about it and take some time and really be empathetic in ways that you wouldn't naturally, or in an effortful way, be empathetic, how things can go just wrong, really. I know it's all a story, so it's all made up. But it's really good for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think it's really worth seeing. I think it's timeless, amazingly.
Yeah.
It felt timeless, because you don't need... nothing in there feels almost dated. It was fast-paced.
It could have been black and white because it was a stylistic choice. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, no, you're totally right.
It's not like you're losing out on anything. It's just... Oh... It doesn't waste time.
No, it doesn't.
Everything
it doesn't feel
is
slow.
Needed.
That must have felt fast paced for its time, because it just feels good pacing. I didn't feel any time ooh. No, a really fantastic film. Thank you for recommending that. No, that's going to be one that I would recommend.
It's up there. It's one of my favourite films.
I'd recommend it to other people.
Yeah,
it's just fantastic. Now, my other thing that I saw. So this is a bit left of field for me. So I watched an anime called Frieren. Frieren. Now, this is... I'm not normally an anime guy. I'm going to put my hands up now. Some people might think I am, just because of the things I like.
I'll be honest, I would have made that assumption. Because you like your...
I'm in the worlds, right?
Studio Ghibli.
Yeah.
But it's its own thing, really, isn't it?
It is kind of it's a bit more artistic, I'd say. People would disagree maybe with that, but... I'm not normally an anime guy. I think something about anime I don't really get on with. There's a few that I do get on with. Mainly Sword Art Online I really get on with. And I think there's a few others, but I can't remember their names on the top of my head. But for the most part, a lot of my friends are into anime. and I try and watch a few episodes, and they normally watch something a bit more like dark or something. I'm not into that. But Connor, shout out Connor, recommended Frieren. He said you'll like this, and I really, really did.
Yeah.
So it's in a fantasy world, kind of like D&D kind of world, where it's like there's wizards and there's dwarves and there's elves and there's blah 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 blah. There's monsters and demons. It's about an elf, and it's about the elf. Is really the main theme of the whole show is elves live for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and Frieren, the main character, who is an elf, is like oblivious to the like mortal lives of humans. So it starts with them having just killed the big bad, going back to the city to be champions and heroes, and there's a comet shower, and she's like, "Oh, we'll meet back here in 50 years when the next comet shower happens, and I'll show you a good spot to see it better."
Yeah.
And she turns up 50 years later, not having aged a day, and all of her like companions are like old haggard men, and she's just like, "Oh yeah, you get old, don't you?" And then like, it's like, "Oh, come on, it's a 2-week walk to the place I was talking about." But because time's just nothing to her, so she'll just happily go 2-week walking, and they're all like, "Okay." And it's really just her journey through time, having just lengths of time. So she then has to go on another adventure, basically, and all of her companions, through, because it's been hundreds of years, they've all died off.
Yeah.
So she has to make new companions. But she goes through villages, and these villagers are like, "Oh, this legendary hero, this myth of a person." And she's like, "Yeah, that's my friend Dave. Like, here's my friend, like, from years gone." But they're like, "He's just a myth."
Yeah.
And it's really good.
So it's giving that insight to, I suppose, the legends and myths and the idea of these people, dying.
Yeah,
but still being remembered, and there can be somebody that can connect with that.
Yeah, and it talks, she really misses these people, and there's a lot of story about Himmel, a hero who's one of the humans, who is like the hero of the old party, has done a lot of things to kind of make sure certain things happen, and like has left a legacy. And you see that as she goes back, she's going back to where the old bad boss was, but not for that reason.
Yeah.
She's just going back there. And you can see like the legacy that they've left. And she's like sort of known, but it's mainly this Himmel guy. And like, it's just really good to see. And you can see how the world's changed, and she like reflects on how it was when she first turned up like hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
And like, you can also see she has constant qualms, because she's like, "Oh, I dropped my ring in this forest. I'm going to spend the next year looking for it." And she's got these human companions, and they're like, "We're not going to sit around for a year."
For this. Yeah, yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, we might just stay here for like 6 months." And they're like, "No, we'll stay here for a week max." So it's really good for that, and I think it's a fantastic show. It's got lots of wizardry stuff, lots of magic.
Is there an evolution of the societies?
Yeah, there are.
They're technological.
They don't get technological. There's a great bit towards the end where people ask her, "Oh, are you like regulated magic? Do you have like a regulation certificate?" And she's like, "These things come about every 50 years. I can't keep up with what the latest regulation is, right?" And she's like, "I carry this thing, and it's like an ancient like artifact that basically says she's like an ancient wizard, and people just respect that." So like, but like, it's so funny. She's like, "Oh God, gotta take this test. Jesus, this guy wants me to take a test. Ugh." And you can see like she's like literally this keeps happening every like 100 years. Someone comes up with a new bloody test.
I can't keep up to date with this.
But it's really worth watching.
What kind of thing is it? Is it like a series, or is
it's a series? So it's 28 episodes. I think they're about 30 minutes long, so not crazy long. Each one after the other. They're not afraid to do time jumps, which I think is really good.
Yeah.
So the first couple episodes do a big. You've got 50 years and like 20 years and like 5 years or something. Some big ones. But then it's like a couple weeks, a couple months, like a year. I'd say from like episode 3 to 28 is probably like 2 or 3 years, maybe. Yeah, they have to do those time skips. I think it does a lot of back and forth thing. It's really wholesome. There's a lot of like just nice people. Yeah. There's some bad people as well, and they are really bad. I don't know why people don't try and stop them for some reason. They just don't. But it's also just going back through. It's really interesting going, someone who lives forever. Just like there's so many things that Frieren says that like it's so weird when you think about it, but like to her time is forever.
No, it's interesting having a character like that, because I really like stories. They usually end up being short stories, but anything that shows almost one location and you see a little bit of evolution over hundreds of years, and you might have you might see a shop grow up and it become more modernised or something like that, or there's other things like it was Love, Death and Robots episode where there was a civilization in their fridge.
Oh,
did you see that? Or their freezer, should I say?
And it keeps developing constantly. Yeah,
I love that kind of story. But this is, I can see the value in this because you've got a continuation through the main character. Whereas a lot of those stories, you end up they do that sleight of hand by saying it's the same actor playing their son and their grandson and the thing as evolution happens, and it's like
it's disconnected. It's still disconnected, or it's like they do a time jump and they've got to learn the new world. You know what I mean? But this doesn't happen. She knows she's understanding it, and so she's
seeing it grow. But
and there are some old-fashioned things. People regularly say her magic style is really old-fashioned.
Yeah,
but she's super powerful. But it's just old-fashioned magic that's very powerful. And you see villagers grow, and you see because it's about 2 or 3 generations down, so you see people talk about their grandparents who did meet Frieren when they were kids.
Yeah.
And you see there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on. It's really wholesome. It's very sweet. There's a lot of wise things. There's a really hard-hitting episode with a dwarf who marries a woman, a human woman. And I think on her deathbed she's you must guard this town. And dwarves live not as long as elves, but they live really long.
Yeah.
And he's I can't even remember her face anymore, but I remember her last words being can you guard this town? So he's done it for and actually it's as long as Frieren can remember, this guy's been guarding the town. And it's a really sweet episode for that kind of thing. And this guy's super old, but Frieren's talking to him like an old buddy. And she looks like a 16-year-old girl. She's not. She's just short, I think. She's just short. She looks 30, I think. It's really hard with animes to figure out ages. She looks 30, just short.
Yeah.
I think elves in that show are just short, naturally, I think. So there's a few others, and they do look kind of short, apart from the male guy.
They're not the kind of Lord of the Rings
tall
and lithe. And
well, yeah, they're kind of tall and slim, but the female ones seem to be just shorter for some reason.
Anime rules.
I think
in that sense, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not normally an anime fan, but this one really got me. It's really good. Super wholesome. Great kind of world building. There's you just get enough that you understand the vibe of the world. And it doesn't try and explain the wizard system too much, but it explains enough that you get the gist of how things work. Sometimes I think a lot of animes do this where they over-explain. So these are meant to be the grandest wizards in the world, and they're explaining clearly for the benefit of the viewer what the spell does and how the spell system kind of works. And it's just all these grand wizards clearly know all this stuff already. It's so dumb.
Why are they giving detail to each other, even though they've all been doing this for years?
Yeah. No, for real like that. But no, it's really good. It's really, really good. I would highly recommend watching it if you get some time. The first episode, maybe it takes a bit of time, but it's just worth it. It's just so worth it. It looks really pretty as well. Jess says I didn't catch it too much, but Jess said the soundtrack was phenomenal.
I'm going to have a look for this now. Get a visual. I'm just looking this up on my phone. So is it free, as in I'm free, and then run? Or
Ren, I think that is. And not as I've been saying, just keeps telling me off.
Beyond Journey's End?
Can I have a look at the photo, perhaps? Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one. I keep saying Frieren.
Frieren.
It is Frieren.
Frieren.
It's Frieren.
Well, it looks like. Is it a book?
But
there's a manga for it.
Oh, of course there is. Yes.
Yeah.
The thing is, I'd watch it. So I'm glad I watched it recently because the second season's coming out on January 16th.
Yeah.
But the first season came out in 2023, and I think I'd be so vexed if I'd watched it in 2023 and be like, what? I've got to wait 6 years for the next season to come out.
That would be depressing. Yeah, it looks. Indeterminate age. She's just young.
Just looks young, but I think the elves do look like that in that show.
Does she come across many of those during the?
What other elves?
Yeah.
A few. There's a whole they talk about how elves don't have a proclivity to reproduce naturally, and they don't really like talking to each other. So it's kind of they kind of explain why elves are kind of quite sparse, and they meet 2 or 3. It's not many.
Yeah. They become characters of legend and myth.
They do a bit, yeah. And actually, in fact, you do meet a few elves, and then you see a lot of their statues because they're they were heroes from times gone by. It's quite funny. But no, it does time, I think, because it's not afraid to do time skips. That's what makes it fantastic.
Oh, so it's on Netflix.
Oh, he's looking it up. He's getting it locked in.
But if it wasn't for the time pressure of Deep Space Nine...
Oh, God. Oh, no. Well, I highly recommend. Even just watch one episode. I think you'll get hooked.
No, it looks interesting, definitely.
I mean, apart from that, what I've seen, I have seen, just as a brief aside, because I don't really want to talk about it too much, because I don't want to take up too much of my time, Stranger Things Season 5, is out.
Don't. I haven't started. I haven't started it. You know,
I'm not...
Were you enjoying it up to season 4?
I thought season 4 was phenomenal. I thought season 1 was good. I thought season 2 was boring. Season 3 was great, and season 4 was phenomenal. Yeah, because like when season 2 is like, I don't know where this is going, and then it's a whole universe. Oh, okay, it's going to be big, and then in season 4, I remember that being like, whoa, hey, great stuff. Season 5, I just.
How many was it? 5 so far.
I mean, 5 episodes.
Yeah,
I watched them all. I watched them all. I was like, cool. I don't like. Nah. Like it's fine. It's like what I said when Lord of the Ring, the Power of the Rings came out. Was it Rings of Power?
Yeah.
Which is it's the bare minimum for the amount of money they spent on it.
It's insane how much money they spent on it.
Like,
to be honest,
it is insane,
for what it is.
I just think about it. I'm like, this is the bare minimum. It just shows money can't make greatness, right?
No, it can't.
Because I think that's with Lord of the Rings a lot. With like Rings of Power, like it's like the most expensive show ever. And I'm like, you look at the props and the style and the writing, it's just that so different. And you spent some more money on, but it doesn't look like it. The battles feel smaller. These are meant to be the big battles. These are meant to be the epic. When the great elven cities is destroyed and the dwarves turn up, it's meant to be huge and epic, and it just did not feel like that in Rings of Power. It felt like a last stand bet.
Sometimes that's a limitation of television. Even if you have all the money in the world,
oh god, no! I just
television can't. It's the sometimes you have that thing of even if you could do something that would make it look grander, is that the thought process of the people making it is smaller. I've always found this difference between television and film really weird. I understood it years ago. I would sit and watch Doctor Who, for example, in the 80s with, Peter Davison and Colin Baker and Sylvester McCoy. And I would be engrossed in it, regardless of the fake, terrible sets, shonky makeup and stuff. I was engrossed in it. And there's an element of liking the stories, liking the characters and wanting to know more about it. But I accepted it because it was just television. Television had lower budgets than the stuff that I saw in the cinema or rented a video or something. And that was an acceptable divide. When you watch some stuff on television nowadays, there can be some stuff that is really just a film.
Yeah, I think that's how the world is now.
Andor, for example.
Yeah. It
was solid. It felt real. It had these wondrous worlds. You had, I loved, the stuff they had in Coruscant was just a lot of the Barbican Centre in London, but filmed in a way that allowed the characters to feel like they were in somewhere real, but at the same time expanding on these, virtual set, increasing the real world with virtual sets.
Backdrops and stuff, yeah.
And it felt amazing, and it felt like an extension of just watching something in the cinema with that kind of budget.
I think you've just agreed with yourself.
I know, but I know, but then why when you've got more money does the worlds of the Power of the Ring feel smaller than a film franchise 20 years old?
Do you want to know my thoughts
on
this? And this is completely unproven. This is I haven't done any research. But I thought it's the kind of thing I think is going to pull this out my ass. This is the kind of thing I think about, though. I do think about this because there's another example of this, and I'll quickly go through it. I was watching at the same time. I was watching The Witcher, and I was watching The Wheel of Time. And I'd read the first book of The Wheel of Time, so I was really excited for the show.
Yeah.
And you look at the sets They're like the house, the witches, like where the witches fight and train and stuff.
Yeah,
whatever it's called, like the den or whatever. I don't know what it's called. And you look at the Wheel of Time, the like Great Hall, and like, oh my god, the Great Hall is like a cupboard. It's like so small, and there's like no detail to it, and it looks so crap. And you look at the Witcher, and they've got this amazing like house, or like huts, or not a hut, but like a lodge. Yeah, it's like in the mountains. And it's so well designed, and the set design is perfect. It's a huge fire, and like the wolf's head carved, and like it looks amazing. And I was like watching these two shows. I'm like, The Witcher has less money, I think, than The Wheel of Time. The Wheel of Time just looks so crap. All the sets looked so small. They looked so underwhelming, so undetailed. And this Witcher looked beautiful. It looks so of the world, and like all the armor and stuff looks so good. And I was just like, how are these two things? And I think it comes down to passion. I think it comes down to people who care. I think what happened with Rings of Power is they want to make this the biggest thing ever. And the execs will make it the biggest thing ever by all the money. We'll have all the money. And they went to the biggest SFX company, probably like West or something. Well, it's not. They probably went to some digital company. Because there was Weta Digital. I don't think that's really the same.
Yeah, Weta
did the original Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings, yeah.
They probably went.
But they also did the Hobbit films, which looked like crap.
I think the digital side of it is. I think it's a bunch of people. I think this is what's really sad. A bunch of people on payroll who just do the thing they're tasked. And the managers are like, oh, we need to make a scene with that looks big, X. They're not thinking about how to make this look great. They're looking at the criteria they've been given, and they're doing it.
Well, if we spend the most money, it is the greatest.
Yeah. And it's that kind of mentality. It's not, how do we make this look good? It's, we'll give the money to the highest bidder. You're the biggest company. You've got the most members of staff. You'll make the greatest thing. But that never happens.
Do you know
that
what?
Never happens.
I can help prove this for you.
Okay.
Godzilla.
Is this -1?
-1, yeah.
I did start watching that. I didn't finish it because I was ill when I watched it. I had to just go to bed midway through.
Sit and watch it.
It's really good. What I did watch was good.
And then you look at the special effects of that, and it's like a handful of people. I think the director himself is involved in making those, and it's beautiful. It's so well done, and to the point where you're staring at the screen, seeing where the joins are. You got Godzilla coming out of water, and you're not going, oh, I can see where they've layered that, the real water source over it. It's just a giant lizard creature coming out of water, and it interacts with everything. And I've seen some behind the scenes footage of a lot of the stuff towards the end is the scientists on a boat, and it's the same boat that was used for the other crews and the other things. They've just dressed it differently, and then they have virtual sets come off of that, and it's incredible what they've done, and it's a small budget, and you think, yeah, you're right, Drew, you're right. It's about passion.
A small group of people who care can do so much more than hundreds of people in an office who just clock in every day.
And there is that whole thing is then you think, well, hold on, what if we take all that money and give that to that small team?
But they're not.
But it doesn't matter, does it?
I think another example is we just had the Game Awards, and Claire Obscura Expedition 33 won like all the awards. It won like 11 of the 13, I think it was, or something like that. And that was like, I'll check this up and Tom can edit in. I was wrong. I was wrong.
You were right.
I was right. I think that group, they were making the team that weren't their French development team. I think they're working on a Final Fantasy game and just getting pissed off at like executives and shit.
Yeah,
just get in the way of them building a game. So they went off and made a game that they actually wanted to make, and it won all the awards. And I imagine if you're the execs, the thing is, the execs of the Final Fantasy game probably don't give a shit.
Yeah,
like, they probably don't care that game. They had the team that made the best game of the year.
They got the name.
I got my salary.
That's what's important to them.
They're like, I got my salary. Yeah, and we met our targets for Q3.
Yeah,
that's all they don't care about. I'd be so furious. I wouldn't be furious. I'd be disappointed if the team that I had in my company went off and then made the best game of the year.
And it's that whole thing where these execs, the things they will be doing to interfere is they'll be saying, this thing is popular, put that in. Yeah. This is popular. Put that in. This is popular. They're
We've
looking
got to meet
around.
the criteria. They're not thinking about what's
the actual experience. What is it that people are enjoying from this, not from everything else? No, you're not going to put in.
But don't make something new. Don't make something new. God forbid. Something original. You know what I mean, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I know what you mean. It's across games. It's across movies. It's across television. Is the people that are involved in it? If they let the people that are running it have half a chance, 9 times out of 10 they strike. They get it right. But when the studios start to interfere, the executives start to interfere, you get decisions that are made purely for financial reasons. Or believed financial reasons. And it's such an irony, isn't it, that those films that are huge budgets fail because
they do mediocre. They're
middle of the road.
Not risky, and so they're they want to make that 1% profit because they don't want to risk the minus 1%. You know what I mean? Like they don't want to be on. They don't want to be like thinking about this could be an amazing franchise and you have millions of this. They don't do that because
or they're doing the opposite of that, which is they're trying to make it $1 billion film. By looking at all the other $1 billion films and saying, well, what was it about each of those? What's the hot thing at the moment that's made that successful? Well, let's chuck that into it. Let's bring this actor in because they were in that $1 billion film.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And you end up with...
I think this is my hot take, I think, from The Strangest Things. Like, Millie Bobby Brown just cannot act. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
she did like a fantasy film as well.
I saw the trails for that. Was not interested.
I watched it with Jess and she just cannot act. She's probably a lovely person. I don't know her, but she just cannot act.
It's that whole thing of unbelievable. Is child actors, they're brought in at an early stage in their career. Doesn't mean that they're going to be great as an adult.
No, absolutely. Again, they're just using her name, and to jumpstart the film or whatever. And see if they're a good.
Did you watch the Enola Holmes? Because that's something.
Yeah, she's not very good in that. Well, she's good at being kind of sassy, but It doesn't. It hits flat. It kind of hits then you have Henry Cavill turns up, and Henry Cavill's actually acting or actually being a character. Yeah. It just felt more like Millie Bobby Brown being Millie Bobby Brown in a period piece or whatever. It didn't. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I just don't think she can act. But again, and she went into Electric City or whatever it was. I haven't seen that.
Electric State. People
said it was bad, but it got loads of views. But I assume it was her and Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Headline because they make the money or whatever.
Yeah, definitely they were in there because they make the money. The directors of it were they the guys from one of the Avengers?
May well have been. I didn't. I never watched it because it never came by me. People said it was bad.
Soulless.
I'm sure.
Honestly, I remember because it's based on a book of illustrations by a really talented guy that puts together a kind of narrative in a way with these visuals, and they're fascinating to look at. And it's weird how you can take that and plonk it in a film as a visual, and it not work.
Yeah, I think you need an art style. The Miles Morales films have an art style. Yeah. I think if you want to use characterful,
add an interesting plot, interesting characters, that might help.
Yeah, fair.
Just having Chris Pratt turn up and he's mugging him. He's great as Star-Lord. I really like him as that.
I recently watched the Avengers first one again. It's pretty good. He's pretty good Star-Lord. Yeah. I just think about it.
But that is that. Then you bring that out, that kind of thing again in another film and another slightly different character, same kind of shtick, doesn't hit. It's not got the same writers. It hasn't got the same thing as who...
The quip, it doesn't have the same gel. I know what you mean. I totally know what you mean.
Yeah.
No, it's bizarre. And I think what we're going to see, hopefully over the next couple of years, is small teams who care doing the good stuff.
Well, it's getting harder. That's the worry, is that it's getting harder for smaller teams because the stakes are so much higher.
I was thinking... I think about small teams a lot. We're a small team at our company where we work. I think about how hard it is in some respects because we're so small to do anything bigger than what we can achieve.
Yeah,
and that must be so true. Even smaller teams that at least we have budget of where we work. There's customers. If you haven't even got customers, when you're that small team.
You're not getting anywhere.
How do you even? You got to have like a year's salary in the bank.
Or you're doing it part time, and it's taking forever because you're having to do your normal
pot noodles. Yeah. Gosh, it's so tough when you think of it in that respect, and like it makes it doubly more impressive when you see a small thing become so big, right? Things I played Balatro on my phone, and I talked about nausea about Balatro. I think it's just one guy, and it's like his dream to just make a game like this. It's a huge game.
That was something I always found fascinating in retrospect. When I was a kid, I had a ZX Spectrum, and I bought video games. I bought cassettes with games on them, and if a game was good, I played it to death. If it was bad, I was annoyed because I'd wasted some money. But I didn't realise that these were bedroom coders. Loads of these games that came out, even with the big labels behind it, Ocean, UK, US Gold, all these big companies, they were buying these games from kids, probably 5 years older than I was, that had coded that game and got it published. Yeah. And I found that a fascinating world. This idea that, somebody's learnt to code in their bedroom and they've made a game and they've sold it.
That's crazy.
We haven't got, there is the game industry is still possible.
It is. So they do, those things do exist, Alex. Yeah. Those small gaming groups do exist, but there's so many people in the market. You got this huge titan industry, just trying to almost stop them. But they're making bigger games. But all the games I played this year, and I thought about this, all the games I made this year have been from small indie developers. I have not played any, apart from
the AAA games.
I haven't played at length any AAA games. I tried to play Stellaris. I can get into that, which is done by Paradox, which is a big company. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but mainly games, things like Blueprints I played this year. I watched Jess play some games, but I'm not playing them. I played Balatro a lot. I played, what's that other game? I played a few other games. They've all been indie stuff, really. I don't play games often now, but yes. And like we said, I like the tight 5-hour games. Real. Yeah. Very nice. Sorry, we've gone off on a distraction.
Yeah, we have. Stranger Things. So you don't recommend?
No. I just like I said,
I'm going to watch it because I need to. I need to have closer to the story.
I agree. I can't.
And you never know that you might get to the final episodes and you'll be going, "Oh, this is doing what I need."
Maybe it doesn't. Yeah. Maybe it does, but I don't think it will. But again, it's the bare minimum it could be for the amount of money they're putting in. So be it. At least it'll be over.
At least it'll be over. At least you could. Stranger Things done.
Now, I was going to talk about 3D printing, but I don't think we've got time this week.
No, we have.
We've talked for an hour because we've got lots to do.
Yeah, we missed some weeks,
but that's fine. Do you have anything for next week? I was going to suggest that we review the year we've just had and come to next week. I'd like to hear maybe an achievement that you've had from the year.
Yeah.
What you think have been the standout things of the year, and then I think perhaps just like, I don't know, Spotify Wraps, what you're looking forward to next year, that kind of jazz. I think
that's a good structure.
We'll talk a bit about Christmas, because we had a debate at work about the difference between Christmas films and Christmas Eve films.
Yes.
And we'll talk about that next week, I think. With a little teaser. Yeah. But do you have anything maybe you want me to look at?
I have something which is a bit more of a long thing.
Okay.
So I want to set that. I want you to read or listen to Player of Games by Ian M. Banks.
Okay. That was one of... Yes. You talk about
it was a culture set book.
Yep.
And I'm listening to your passion about board games. And I'm thinking, I think this would be a good entry point for you.
Okay.
Because the main character in Player of the Games is a game player. Whoa.
Is this what you talked about where it's ridiculous?
Yeah,
in terms of they make a ridiculous
this is a
massive
game
of games
that decides the ruler of the planet.
Yeah.
And it's a crazy ass game. But I find it interesting because it almost feels real. The description, how the game is described and how he talks through, or how it's talked through how he's going to play the games. It's almost like a real game. And it's like you talking about making rules for games and having to visualize that. The idea of an author, building a game of that scale.
And then having to author it as well. It sounds quite crazy.
There's descriptions of it in the book where you're like, oh my God, you almost can see the whole idea of this game. And I think, but again, with me spending 10 minutes a day at work reading a book, it might, I don't know what it'll take a bit longer anyway.
No, that's fine. So, I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to do a bit of long-term reading. So
then in the short term then, what did I have?
Oh, yeah, think back to 12 Running Around. What an absolute shout. Diamond in the rough of your choices from years gone by.
What was the other?
You can do whatever, though. There's something you want me to watch in any general sense.
No, I thought I had another Christmas movie that was a bit off kilter, but I don't. There is Brazil. No, it's too bleak for this time of year. No, let's leave it. I think looking at it though, I think that's a lot to talk about next week.
Yeah, just to review the year. To be honest, to reflect back to what I was doing in January. I had that was when I last did a wargaming tournament. It was in January, and that feels like a lifetime ago. I was in Japan at the beginning of the year. That's how long ago that was. But yes, well, thank you very much, Mark. It's good to be back.
No, it is good to be back. Good to be well. Feeling better. Sorry.
It's very funny.
They're very funny.
Goodbye, Mark.
Toodle pip, everyone.